Hi there, Libra. Welcome to your end of May 2024 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. Oh, I just got that for Gemini. It's kind of interesting when that happens. Oops. Ooh. All right. Let me just gather these cards so I can put them to the side. Heart of the matter is the Eight of Wands. This is a very kind of dynamic energy, I would say. This is fire energy. So wands can be fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It can indicate a lot of activity. So I do think of stagnancy leading to activity. Maybe feeling stuck and then all of a sudden all systems are go. Where this is taking place in your life is a totally different story. I can look at the past position for themes. Five of Pentacles. This can be money troubles or money issues. It doesn't, the interesting thing about this is that it's not always that it's true that the person is having money troubles. It could be like limited thinking in terms of abundance. So the person's very fear-based around money. And so even, let's say there are Libra people, and this could certainly be because you were in eclipse season, that you had issues with employment, losing employment, perhaps, or just, major changes to your life. And if somebody loses their job, obviously that's going to feel like it's something, like it's a calamity. But sometimes people have plenty of savings, so it's not like they're going to be out on the street, or they're going to not be able to pay for food. It's simply this idea of having the rug pulled out from under you. If a person is really analytical about it, they can see that I have a feeling that a lot of times they were not happy there. And that's why it happened for them, is that it's actually doing them a favor, but they were afraid to take the initiative and leave that job themselves, And I understand why. I mean, even if they have savings, they might feel like it's bad juju to kind of bite the hand that feeds you. But or just simply maybe you did have kind of like tight finances, and now if you have been what do you call it, like applying for work, sending out resumes, now you might have like the opposite thing happening where it's like, oh whoa, what do I choose? And it can kind of feel a little bit daunting, because it could be like the Seven of Cups, like, which is the right thing for me. The higher message is the Page of Cups, which is a card of, I think ultimately this is a card of approaching life with innocence. Oh yeah, and by the way, this could also be for love, because the cups can relate to emotional situations. So certainly with love, it can be like, having the innocence of a child, but also not being naive about a situation. With Five of Pentacles, there could have been some kind of lack, a drought in your dating scene. Maybe things were a little bit slow, and now everything is, you have like a lot of opportunities, but it might be that you have to sift through them, that you have to make sure, or maybe it's one person and they're really pushing something very like they're trying to do something very quickly, and you have to like go, whoa, am I being naive about the situation? Am I like, wow, this is so great, this person wants us to move in together, and we've only known each other a month, you know? So making sure that you're not being too hasty about something, if it's kind of, especially if the other person is doing it and they're like kind of pushing to get really serious very quickly, and you've been in some kind of a drought, and you're kind of like, if you really think that you like this person, you might be inclined to go along with it, but it could be your worst nightmare. So it's like, what is the rush? I think that would be the first question to ask. What crosses you is the King of Wands. Oh my gosh, this could be like a Leo. Is this person a Leo? But the other fire signs are Aries, Sagittarius. So it could be suggesting that this person is very controlling, and you have to be wary of this person. But on your end, this may be that you're not in your power, that you're giving away your power to somebody else for some reason. And this even applies to work situations, because if something, I mean, even if you get a lot of offers and they're not really satisfactory, for some of you, you may even want to start your own business, but you kind of talk yourself out of it. And the King of Wands in the upright position is very independent and, like autonomous. Doesn't need to be hired because you hired yourself. And I'm not, putting down anybody who works for somebody else, not at all. But there might be a certain time in your life where, let's say you did get fired, not because you were incompetent, but let's say, they were just, you were the last hired, so the first fired. That can feel very disempowering too. So realizing that, being the captain of your own ship may have a very practical reason for it, is that you can kind of direct things your own way. You don't have to depend on somebody else to make those decisions that might not be in your best interest sometimes. What's coming in is the Nine of Wands. This has kind of a wary energy. Wary, I think Libra understands the difference between weary, which means tired, and wary, which means cautious. A wariness about also boundaries. And those two things actually go together with this card as far as I'm concerned. Because if there's a person like the King of Wands who might be the more reversed version, who is like trying to throw their weight around as it pertains to you, and you are not, you're not really like tuning into that and seeing the controlling aspect of this person. This is something that you must do, and you must have like a line that that person can't step over. And you have to, be able to communicate those boundaries to the other person. You can't expect them to just, intuit it. But that suggests that you're feeling kind of uneasy about somebody trying to approach you about something. Looking at the outcome card, though, it's very good, the Chariot, and this is ultimately success that is obtained by transcending duality. And the way that we do that is we don't perceive situations as good or bad. So, for instance, what I was trying to articulate with the Five of Pentacles is, if somebody looks at a situation where maybe they had a relationship break up and it wasn't their doing, the other person did it, and then they told themselves something about themselves about like, oh, that means that I'm not good enough, I'm not desirable. Same thing with work. I'm not good enough. I wasn't a good enough worker. Instead of saying I wasn't happy in the relationship, I wasn't happy in the job, and this made it easier for me to kind of um, free myself without it being kind of awkward and messy. I mean, it's actually a good thing, you know? So I really feel like just flipping the script can be all it takes, is to see that you have achieved some sort of victory here. And, you know, by the Page of Cups is right above it. So it's like keeping an open heart, not becoming cynical, even if something has been difficult to handle. Of course, again, with eclipse season, it could involve relationship issues, your life as a whole, your everything. That's why I say, you know, you had a lunar eclipse in your first house, in your own sign, so that can affect any area of life, you know, and you may have had to say goodbye to something. And and definitely with relationships, because that forms an opposition with your seventh house. And it's very easy for a Libra person to see that as some kind of loss instead of a release, instead of like, oh, okay, thank goodness that's over with. But see, I feel like with the Nine of Wands, you might see that person come back. And if you're not, if you don't really believe that you have a lot of options, which kind of the Five of Pentacles kind of suggests, that kind of lack consciousness. It's like, oh, maybe I should go back with this person, because who knows? Maybe I would never get another relationship again. And if you think, and people don't typically think that directly like that, but it kind of is really what they're thinking like. And there has to be this conscious understanding of being motivated by fear or by a sense of lack. The Chariot, this is a card connected to Cancer. Might even be a timing card of when things really kick into gear for you. I actually think that's the case, especially with career matters, because the new moon in Cancer is going to be on July 5th, and it's going to be during a time when there is all the personal planets are in the forward direction. You know, we're already past the Mercury retrograde at this point, and so it can really move things forward for you and indicate a new chapter with career matters. So, that's something to think about. Okay, that's what I have for you, Libra. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, be it a tarot reading or astrological reading, please click the link below. Thanks for watching. Bye.